Howdy, 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 and welcome to another episode of the Dirt Info podcast. If you could, as always, just hit that like down there, just a little boop, and then keep it moving. That really helps us out, so much appreciated. And with that, let's jump into our first segment, Carter, and it's called
Stylin and Profile.
Thanks, Rick. Carter, I fear we may have the same styling and profiling, but let's see what happens.
Exact same, you think? Like
I
same
don't
design?
I don't think, possibly. I know we got it at the same place. That much I know for sure.
Let me flip it over. I got the Fall Jamboree sweatshirt. And
Okay.
the reason I got this actually was because I forgot my sweatshirt and I realized it when I was about 4 hours away from home.
Oh yeah, you
Or else
can't turn
I
around.
would have just got a shirt. Yeah, and I'm glad I got it because one, it protected me from the cold, but mainly the bugs. The bugs were the thing that it protected me from the most.
Yeah, I was rocking jeans, so I didn't notice them nearly as much. But I also picked
Oh
up.
yeah, you have the same one. I didn't realize you were wearing it.
So I picked this up at the Jamboree as well. So we'll probably talk about that in a minute, but let's go ahead and jump into what we did this weekend. And Carter, let's have you start us off. You did a little bit more than I did.
Yeah, so Thursday I went to 141 for the first day of the Creek Classic, and they had dirt late models and asphalt late models, which we talked a bit about a few weeks ago. And they didn't race that bad. The heats went pretty smoothly, and they kind of raced like, well, from anyone by my area, kind of like Grand Nationals, but just Grand Nationals that aren't made for dirt, pretty much, I guess. And they kind of look or like the New York Pro Stocks, you know what I'm talking about? The ones in the
Yep.
Northeast, they kind of like that. Then the feature, they had a rough time not spinning out, and then one guy experienced the tractor tire, which I don't know if they have those too often at asphalt tracks. He ended up on there and almost went over, but stayed kind of not on all four wheels, half the wheels. He was up on the tire like this, like the whole back end was on it, and then it kind of tipped down, but stayed on its
Okay.
side more so. Um,
Phew.
and that yeah, so he didn't tip over. That would sucked, but uh, so yeah, but they when they were racing, it was actually pretty good. And the feature, Brayson Bennett won, who actually used to race Sport Mod for a few years in my area. I can't remember who took second, but I remember second place was running the top, which asphalt late model, that's a big deal running the top side because usually the top for them is
Never been up there.
1 foot above the bottom. Yeah. So, and yeah, I thought he was going to get him. I thought he had a chance, but Brayson Bennett won. And then the dirt late model feature, Cole started first or second, I believe, and then Cole Sharneski, and then won that. Um, that was not a ton happened in that one. It was not as many crashes though, so that was a plus. And then Friday, we'll get to Friday. Saturday, I was at Arlington Raceway for the first time for their championship night, plus 4,500 to win for the IMCA sprint cars. I've never seen those before. They're just 305s, but
Yeah.
still a new class, I guess, for me. Um, and Lee Goose Jr. won that. I learned he's the point leader, I guess, for IMCA sprint cars. So that was, I didn't know, I had no idea who was leading that. So that was, I guess, cool to see him there. Um, but I also got two tracks. I think we mentioned this last week where I got the autocross
Mm-hmm.
track. Um, and that was not what I thought it was going to be. It's hard to explain, but basically they start at the flag stand on like the oval track, and then they go to turn one and then turn into the infield, and then they run, say, 5 laps or whatever in the infield track that is for the autocross, and then they get the white flag while they're down there, and then they leave the infield the same way they came in, back into turn one,
And
and they
Holland.
take the checkered back where they started on the front stretch. So, and
Okay.
there was no jumps. I learned, I talked to the guy who's like the safety guy there. He stopped by me before I went in the stands, and we were talking a bit. And I asked if they had jumps, and he said the cars are not made for jumps, unfortunately. They are just like some like junk cars pretty much. But yeah, he said
Okay.
the jumps would not be good for them. It's basically like they're just racing in mud pretty much. That's more so what it is. But they're still racing. I mean, I've seen more boring racing than that, so I'll take it.
I was gonna ask you what you thought, but I think you
Yeah,
gave us
it
an
wasn't that
opinion.
bad. I don't know if I'd go like just for it, but if it was added on to the show, I'd be like, yeah, I'll take it. And it went
Yeah.
quick, and they're not like throwing a caution for a guy that spins because they're going 15 miles per hour, 20 miles per hour. So it's not a huge issue if a guy spins out or anything. So yeah, it went pretty quick. Kept it moving right along then. So yeah, not a bad support class. There's definitely worse ones that might take about 45 minutes sometimes. So
Oh,
um,
no.
but yeah, then they started the oval track portion. And I'm not a huge half mile guy, but that one actually raced pretty well. I think it's because it's longer corners and shorter straightaways. All the half miles I've learned that I've disliked are like tight corners and long straightaways. But yeah, the stock cars were really good. And Matt Speckman, who I don't think you've heard of, but he's someone I've heard of before. I didn't realize he raced at Arlington, but he had his 100th career win while I was. I don't know if it was 100th career
Hey.
IMCA stock car win, 100th career win total, but they had like a little banner for him uh, when he won. So that yeah, that was cool. I didn't even know that was like a possibility. But so you got that, and then uh, Jeremy Mills, who's I think second in national points. I don't know if he's leading after this weekend or not, but he was second at the time. He showed up because all the point stuff is done in Iowa, so he's coming
Okay.
up to Minnesota to get points, and he won the feature. And then so they do victory lane. I don't know if there's anything even there's one track that USMTS goes to in like Oklahoma that does it similar, where it's like in between like the front stretch wall and the grandstands, and they like drive right up, and the fans are like
Hmm.
right there. So they do it
Yep.
like that and
Oh,
but
nice.
it's pretty like tight. So he drove in there. His car was fine. He finished the race. Everything was fine. He drove into that little area and was driving to victory lane, and like the rear end like broke or something, like where they couldn't even push it. And their um, tow trucks there are more so like John Deere tractors. And it's a pretty tight area, so it was able the tractor fit in there, but it had to like squeeze its
There's
way
a
in,
squeeze.
squeeze its way in there and then pull it up to victory lane. So that took like 10 or so minutes to get him in victory lane for his interview. Um,
Oh.
and then when they were leaving or like pulling him off, the front of his car was like scraping the ground or whatever, and they were trying to not damage it. It didn't seem like it was just like the plastic part of the on like the front end of the mod, like
Yeah.
on the
Yeah.
nose. But then I remember I heard someone
Comments
was
or
like,
whatever.
"Thanks for the free gradient or whatever of the gravel that was there." He smoothed it all out for him, and he didn't seem mad or anything. It was he won, so I guess not a ton to be mad about at that point.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was one of the I've seen cars break down going to victory lane, but just the way their victory lane it was
Yeah.
not an ideal
It's
spot to break
it's
down.
like such a cool feature, except for this one particular
Yeah,
instance.
incidents that could happen. Yeah, and if it was just like just needed a push, it wouldn't have been an issue. But it was that they had to try to back in there and pull them out and stuff. But they got it to work. But one thing I want to mention that was like one of we talked about them doing the redraw for their stock car show where they were shooting like bow and arrows or whatever, or maybe it was
Yeah.
a gun, like a BB gun at a target. I don't remember what it was. Um, but so they did a redraw for the sprint cars, and what they did was so they have the go-kart track in the infield, and two of the go-kart racers stayed or whatever, and let the sprint car drivers race the go-kart for the redraw. It was like you get two qualifying laps, and the best time is like where they start or whatever. And I don't remember who went quick time, but they also added where the best time and the worst time, then do a rock, paper, scissors, and if the best time wins, it's straight up how they qualified.
Okay.
If the worst time wins, it's I think they redraw
Invert.
12, they invert 12, so 12th would start first, and pass time would start 12.
Yeah.
And so if you think you're good at I guess you could kind of sway it it's like okay, like I could go a bit faster in the go-kart, but I also could just go super slow if you for some reason think your rock paper scissors skills are really good. It's like I could go fifth quick, or I could just go 12th, and I can decide where if I'm starting last or 12th. But the guy who was slowest was the guy who won the race. He was the national points leader. He was slowest in the go-kart, but then won the rock paper scissors and ended up on the pole. So I,
I
I
kind
doubt
of get it though. It's like a I control my own destiny. So like
exactly.
separate aside from like I feel like everyone knows one of those guys who's like I'm really good at rock paper scissors.
Exactly.
Separating out those guys, just like if you're like I want to have the opportunity to like choose my destiny, yeah, just go slow and at least then you're throwing one of them.
Exactly.
Win, lose or draw, you had a shot at winning. So
But yeah, it was definitely interesting watching them do the go-karts. It was just like they put two cones on the front stretch and they went around it, but it was still a bit slimy, like kind of right up against the wall. Not slimy, but wasn't like packed down. So sometimes they go a
yeah,
bit wide, and as soon as they hit that, their lap would be screwed. but they figured that out and they started going below it. But yeah, they would spin out a few times trying to go into the corner with their the go-kart and stuff. It was an interesting way to do it. And it didn't they got it kind of nailed down where it was like they had two carts, one went and then one was like getting ready so then he could go so it went quick. It didn't take forever to do it where you had to switch the guy out and stuff. So yeah, it
Yeah.
was entertaining way to do it and it didn't take long. If it took
Yeah.
half an hour to do the redraw, I would have been like, all right, let's just grab the hat and grab out of that hat. Let's get
Yeah.
her moving here.
Appreciate the attempt, but it got bogged down. Yeah, no, I like that. It sounds like Arlington definitely does some stuff to try to keep the racers and the fans engaged, which I very much appreciate. Gimmicky or not, I think gimmicks work in this sport, so I totally dig it. It beats grabbing out of a hat, like you said.
Yeah.
So
I
for
don't know
sure.
how I feel totally about the redraw being something that you could be like good at. Like you know what I mean? Like it could kind of have an advantage. I think it's Boone that does cornhole for like a redraw, and like you could be better
Okay,
than someone at
yeah.
cornhole. You know what I mean? So you could kind of be screwed.
Yeah,
But
I mean that's like sort of luck of the draw slash, I guess, if you wanted to focus on your cornhole skills over your routine maintenance. I mean, you could.
but there's just some people that are just good at cornhole, like
Yeah, I get it. I
and
get
could
it.
have a slight advantage. But at the same time, it's entertaining. So I
Yeah.
think
Well,
it
next
depends
year
what
you
you're
could end up
using it
being
for.
darts, and you might suck at darts, right? So,
Exactly, yeah. But someone else could be really good at it.
yeah. Anyway, I don't know. I think if, as long as fans are, it's very much integrated into the presentation of the show. I think even to the extent someone might have a lucky break that it's some random bar game or something they're good at, so be it. At least it makes for a better product altogether, I think is where I fall on that. But I hear your point of like, it turns out dude in the winter is just like an elite level cornhole
Exactly.
player.
Plays it all winter long.
Yeah. Which I'm sure there are a few.
Yeah,
I'm not
I
gonna
mean,
lie.
especially race car drivers. That's like,
Yeah.
I feel like that's a thing. I know a lot of race car drivers that play cornhole, and I think it's because it's
Oh
a
yeah.
drinking thing, and a lot of race car drivers, especially in Wisconsin, like to drink. So
That's for sure. Well, right on. Well, that is pretty cool. Well, it turns out we were at the same place this weekend and we didn't even, well, we weren't there the same day, but we didn't
no,
see
not the
each other.
same day.
Yeah, but it is kind of funny how we were at the same place, but not even the same day. Anyway, so I kind of want to start out with, that was your first trip to Deer Creek, wasn't it?
Hmm.
All right. So it turns out I you were coaxed into writing down a review, so I won't go through it line by line, but I can fact check anything you say. But I was just curious, what was your take overall of Deer Creek, the facility itself?
The facility, I don't remember the number I gave
Yeah,
it, but it was like a six
no,
or
it's okay.
seven.
I wouldn't
Okay.
sweat it. Yeah, yeah.
Um, it was not like it was a normal facility, like a little, it wasn't bad or terrible, and maybe above average, I guess. Like it was a solid facility. It was a bit confusing, but I think that was just because the way they had everything laid out for this weekend. Like I think if it was a weekly show, I'd know where I'm going a bit more.
Um, I hear that with the two separate barns and then the thing in the middle, like there's a level of familiarity. Like I've been there a bunch of times and I discovered the taco bar and mac and
See,
cheese.
that was the first place I found. I found that
Okay.
first, and I was like, okay, well, that's one concession stand. They don't have anything, like they don't have burgers or anything. And then I was like, so I thought maybe the other one was like across, like on the other side. So I
Yeah,
walked over
that's just
there and
the
was like, okay,
bar.
it's not there. And then I learned I couldn't find it because the main one wasn't open yet. All the things were closed because I saw the menus there and I was like, strange place to have menus with no concession stand. I was like, all right, whatever, keep her moving. And then
Well, I
and
know
then
what
I
they offer if I can find
And then I
it.
saw I saw they had a door open to the building where the concession stand was in, and I thought, oh, maybe I have to walk in here, and I almost just walked into the kitchen. And then I was like, oh wait, and then I learned, oh, they have to just open the windows on this thing, and this
Yeah.
is this is the concession stand.
You're not
And
used to being that early. That's what it was. It's
yeah, sure,
just
I was 2 hours early. I'm used to getting there early to tracks for when I'm streaming, but I'm usually not looking for food right away either.
fair.
And then I was parked so far away, so I figured out where to go. But that was I'm
Yeah.
assuming you're not parking back there normally.
I I've been over there both times now in that general
Oh, is that where
area.
they normally park them?
I
Yeah,
was
I don't
there
know.
for.
I almost got yelled
I'm
at
starting to
for
think a little bit. That's where I was for the Gopher too. So
I almost got yelled at for parking in handicap too. That was my fault though. I turned right and I thought that brought me to like more parking. And
we
then I
did the
was like,
same thing.
yeah, and then I pulled in a spot to back out and I saw a golf cart come flying over and I was like, I know it's handicap. I'm turning around. Don't worry.
So last time I was there, they kind of funneled everyone the other direction. But like, if you did just go right, you could park over there, and that's the better parking area to me. I'm an in and outer, so I like that the car's close. So this time I'm like, I'm just doing it. I'm just doing it, and then I just went, "Brr," and I look and boom, temporary pit gate like right in front of me. I'm like, oh no.
See, I
I
think
can't.
that's what confused because I looked at it on Google Maps, like on satellite view, and it looked like it was a whole bunch of parking over there. But then I got over
Yeah.
there and there was like very little and there was a fence. Because
Yeah.
yeah, I'm assuming normally there's more than just that little handicap spot. That's like all more
Yeah,
parking.
that's
Okay.
actually all the way. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that's what kind of confused me there. And then I figured out I have to go all the way back here instead.
Yeah. Yep. I parked there. I was a kind of early and so I was parked in a real primo spot, except for it was a pull through spot and I didn't use my brain, so I was a little late. And so I was just windshield first right at the turn four. So
Oh,
when I came out, I was just covered in dirt. That was
yeah.
smart.
Yeah, it's usually the windshield wipers will fix that. It sucks though when it's like what is it like the air kind of gets like moist, you know what I'm talking about? Like your car's like
Oh
wet
yeah, it gets
and
damp.
then it
Yep.
turns
Yep.
more into like mud on your car. I've had
Yeah.
that
The
happen
dew.
before. Yeah, there
Dewy,
it
I
is.
think is the word. Yep.
I
Yeah.
also
But
oh, real quick,
what?
just about the dust on cars. So my old car, when I first got my license, one time I turned the air conditioning on or whatever. It took air from outside and just straight dust storm into my car. One time at 141. Yeah, it was bad.
Lessons were learned that day.
Yep, learned that real fast not to do that.
Yep. Yep. Right on. Yeah, I have like a whole strategy when I'm leaving. Everything's off, and you try to get going down the road a little bit to blow off first before you even use the windshield wiper
Oh,
fluid
I
or
use
anything,
them.
because
I just
otherwise,
use the wipers and it usually moves it all off right away.
yeah. Oh, I wait till I'm going a little bit, then I do that, and then I do the fluid, and then I'm like primo. So. But anyway, so that was just kind of the facility itself. How was the show? What did you think of the racing? I know that you were just a midday, sort of a midpoint of the total show, so your vibe was a little different than mine. But what did you think of the show and the product and the racing and all that fun stuff?
The racing in the heats and most of the B mains were kind of boring. It was like the track didn't widen out to the top yet, and I guess Thursday it did that from what people near me said. I don't know if that's true or not. You watched it, I didn't. But it wasn't, yeah, there wasn't much of a top side for the heat races and B mains. I think by the mod B main that was there, but yeah, I was like, well, this kind of it's known for like the top side, I feel like, and there was no top side. But then by the mod feature, the top side was there and it was perfect. And I actually wish the race was longer because I finally get to see the top side, and it's a 30 lap race. And even though Sorensen destroyed him, like behind him, it was really good. Like Joe Chisholm he came from, I think, a B main, if I remember
Way
right.
back, yeah,
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 and he got
yeah,
up to second, I'm pretty sure. Um, that's honestly, I remember watching him. He was the one that was running the top. But yeah,
yeah,
I just wish the top came in way earlier. I think it would have been awesome, but you'll have that, I guess. Doesn't always
yeah.
work out that way. But once the top came in, the racing went from like a 4 or 5 to like a 9, pretty much. It would have been a 10 if there was a crazy finish, but Sorensen was too quick for that. So
Fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah. And then, I mean, mod stop billing, that is, that's something you're kind of used to. So the reason I mentioned that is because I was like, the late models definitely get that blown off a little bit quicker up
quicker,
top.
yeah,
Yeah.
that makes
Yeah. Yeah.
late models would be cool there. If based on
Yeah.
how the mods were, I'm sure late
Yeah.
models would be sweet.
They're quite rad. And the mods are pretty solid. So when I was there on Saturday, honestly, the mod feature was solid, but it was kind of not super memorable until the last lap when Brandon Davis was able to get past Reese Solander in traffic on a bottom dominant track on the bottom. So that was pretty cool. Otherwise, the race was decent. It was entertaining-ish, but like not super great. And then for almost 20 laps, we were bottom dominant, so that definitely has a factor. And then only then did the last lap pass kind of bring everyone to life. But hometown guy winning that, everyone went nuts on Saturday when that was another one of those moments I've had there sitting so you were in the bleachers, right?
Yep, and kind of out of turn 4. It was a bit down the straightaway, but yeah.
So I was over in the benches over there. And
Like in the middle between the two stands?
So on the right no, I was in the benches past the concessions over further. So the ones in the dirt in the ground over there.
Oh, I didn't even know those were there.
Oh, yeah.
I
You
never
even see.
wandered over there. No.
Yeah, once you get to the other side of the concessions, there's a whole nother like in-ground benches and stuff.
Oh yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah, on a hillside. So I was over there, and as he was coming to the finish, we kind of stood up, and everyone's like, "Ah!" So it was another one of those cool moments because you sit kind of low instead of really get the
Are
best view.
those
You
like the
stand up.
bleachers just to the right of where I was? Like, is that what you're talking about? Those like,
No,
okay, so
no,
there's
there's
further.
past
Okay,
that.
yeah, okay,
Yeah,
yeah. Then I
yeah. No,
definitely didn't see those.
you're referencing the bleachers that are right in front of the concessions,
No,
and then
next to
there's
those, the right of
the
those.
the one in the hillside.
There's like one set on the left coming out of 4, and then there's
Yeah,
the concession stand where there's like the
yeah,
gap and those tiny little stands, and then next to
yeah.
those tiny ones, there's more what looked like stands, or is that a hill?
Yeah, that's a hill.
Oh, okay. I just thought that was
Yeah,
like grandstands that were
yeah, right
lower for
there.
some reason.
No, that's the hill.
Okay,
Then there's
that would explain
grandstands
it.
past that. Then there's another grandstands past that. But yeah,
Gotcha. Yeah, I didn't
yeah.
realize that was a hill. I thought there was just like I was wondering why those were lower than the ones I was in. That would explain it.
Yeah, yeah, just hillside. It's pretty cool. I like sitting over there. That's my vibe. So I met up with one of our listeners, Connor, there, and he kind of hung out with me a little bit. And so when we were there very early as well. And so like pre-show after we walked the pits a little bit, we were just hanging out and we met a couple of dudes who were there from Wisconsin, and we chatted with them for a minute. And yeah, it was just kind of a cool vibe to get a chance to sort of talk racing with people. I don't remember where I was going with that. I felt like I had a point and then I lost it mid-story. I was trying to remember names and then my brain went over there. So my apologies for that. But yeah, it was cool. It was a fun night. I completely lost my train of thought, Carter. So bring me back to earth here. What were we talking about?
I don't remember
off.
where you're going. I can talk about one
Okay.
thing at mine while I was
Yeah.
there though. I met a guy from Winnipeg, Canada, obviously. I don't know what is that a state, a city in Canada? I don't know. I don't know my Canada too
Province.
well. Providence, whatever. There we go.
Province, they're
But
called, I believe.
anyways, I met him. So the seat I was in one seat and it was fine until someone sat in front of me with like a seat back, and then it took half my space, so that kind of sucked.
Oh, that stinks.
Not a huge fan of those. But then some people left after the B mains, which don't know why you'd ever do that, but worked for me. I just went over there and sat in his seat and their seat. And it was one row up, so I had a better view. And the guy I was next to was from Winnipeg, and he's like 2 hours from River City Speedway, where I was at a few weeks ago.
Yep.
Um, and he was telling me that he goes on like one trip a month, at least during racing season. And this was his one trip for September, I guess. But yeah, it was cool to talk to him. He knows like bunch of about a ton of racing too. I thought he was like going to be just with Soda or just national stuff, but he knew IMCA guys, with Soda guys, USRA. He follows it all, I guess. But yeah, so I never got his name. I realized as I was walking, I was like, I never got his name. He never got mine. But yeah, it was someone to talk to for, I think I moved there. Actually, it was during the B mains. It was during the B mod B mains because I remember they kept crashing. And he was not happy with the B mods. And he likes all kinds of classes, but he was like, come on, we got to get this thing moving.
so, so funny enough, relating back to the story, I got a little bit lost. So the two gentlemen we met were named Kyle and Travis, and I didn't get their names till the very end. We chatted with them the whole race, and then they were getting ready to leave, and that's when we exchanged names. I feel you on that. We almost missed that, and they were up from Rice Lake, and I think they're going to be at the Fall Classic too this coming weekend. So I might run into them again as well. So I handed them stickers. Connor did a good job of stalling while I fumbled looking for where I put the stickers. So if you guys are listening this week, hello fellas. But yeah, so honestly that was one of the coolest parts about the Jamboree for me, was it did feel like a little bit more like everybody was kind of chill, and there was just more chatting than I think I've experienced the last couple of years there. A little more, I don't know, the vibe was a little more chatty, if that makes any sense at all to me, but it definitely was just during the pit walk. Like, I don't know if you notice, I have another new door
Oh,
up
I did
there.
not notice, but now that you say
Yeah.
it, I definitely notice.
Yeah, so I picked up a Tanner Mullins mini door, and I wanted it signed. So it's a little tough to see because it's signed in pink, which is perfect in person, but not great on the camera. But so I had to go to the pits and get him to sign it, and I borrowed a pen from Denise from the Victory Vault trailer, and so I went down and I got him to sign it, and I introduced myself, and he's like, "Hey, I see your stuff," and I was just like, "Well, that's beyond flattering." So, that was kind of cool too, just to like, that I guess I suppose we put it on every platform imaginable. I suppose it's bound to happen, but it's still like, I don't know, kind of shocking in itself, in and of itself. So I did hand off some stickers. I think we ended up on the car as well. So that collage is going to be we're going to have to work hard to remember
Google has
all the ones.
stickers.
Yeah. Yeah. So if you're listening and you have stickers of us on your car, send us a picture, because we do want to do some. I guess I'm letting the cat out of the bag a little bit, but we might need some help at this point. Send us a picture, because we want to do something cool at the end of the year, just thanking everyone who supported us in that way. So if you're listening and you're one of those guys, send a message to whatever page you see us through. I mean, we're all over the place, but anyway, so yeah, I guess that was a fun story from my trip ultimately. And then really the big racing takeaway was just the Brandon Davis last lap pass over Reese Helander. But it was a fun trip, and the vibe was more up definitely than last year. I almost wore last year's shirt. Last year was a month earlier, and it's
Oh
kind
yeah,
of a
that's right.
drab vibe. Yeah. Yeah. So, and I also didn't mind the addition of the stock car classes. That was a
Oh yeah, I
solid
was actually
addition.
so when I like saw I could go, I was like, God, I just want to watch mods and B mods, and then I looked, and I was like, oh, they have stock cards. That actually like partially like got me to go, because I don't want to watch two mod classes. Like I'd like
Yeah.
at least something that's not doesn't look the exact same. And then I saw they had stock cars on Friday. I was like, oh, perfect. They ended up not being that amazing. Shocking. That's very rare to happen, but their races were okay. I think they had one solid heat race, if I remember right. But yeah, the feature was, I forgot who won, but he was pretty much gone the whole time. It was
Wow.
a 26 all black car, I think, it was his first win there, I
Oh,
think. Forever first ever win or
are you
first ever win in a
spacing?
long time. But
Okay, I'm spacing. I know when I was there, Derek Green won because that was an Ironman stock
yep.
car race, both of those. Derek Green won that was their last race, so he won the last race and he won the points championship on Saturday. So that's what all I remember of that stock car feature, truthfully, is just that he won, and that he also was like a walk off, which I just love. I love those little wins that you get along the way in a racing season, of like, not only did you win the championship, but you won it in a walk off. Like
Oh
the
yeah.
last race of that season, you also won to just like, boom, this was mine, man. So I
The
dig
guy
that.
the guy that won Friday was Jason Schlanigan. That was the name.
Okay. Okay. Now that you say that, I remember hearing it on the broadcast. It's a memorable name,
Yeah.
Flanagan, especially with one of the announcers saying it. So I actually, I thought it was good that the vibes were up compared to years past. It sounds I maybe projecting for you, but you at least met one nice person, so I'm gonna count that as vibes were up for
That
you
was
a
the
little
only
bit
person
too.
I talked to, but yes, I did
Yeah.
meet. meet one
Yeah,
person. I usually don't talk to
yeah,
people if I'm alone. I just chill on
yeah.
my own unless they talk to me.
So vibes were all the way up for Carter because he talked to another human at a racetrack when he was alone. So, but yeah, I thought the vibes were definitely up. Um, Overall, like, so this is one of the few times you've seen USMTS, so I'm gonna throw a couple things at you real quick. But having seen a season, what did you like? Did you when you were there? I'm just gonna just use you as a proxy, maybe. When you were there, like, or as far as announcing was concerned or anything like that, did you have any vibe about like who was the points leader or who was like
Um,
what this race had for standings or anything? Like, did you
they
hear
may have
anything?
said points leader, and I may have tuned out the announcers. But like, I don't like the passing points thing. Is that what they do for every
Okay.
race? That's like instead of
Yes.
like top four.
Usually,
See, I
no,
don't like.
actually, no.
Okay, so
My own brain is misremembering. For the most part this year, no, they don't. They've been
usually it's
qualifying in.
like top four transfer to the feature, the rest go to the B main. That's like in a heat
Yes.
race. Okay,
Yes.
so
Yep.
yeah, like passing points, like I get it for like specials. So in this case, it makes sense. But if they did that every show, I don't like it because you don't know who's locked in until like all the heats are done.
I
It's
agree. I
it's
agree.
like it's safe
Yep.
for a guy that might go eighth to first or something. It's like okay, he's locked in. But yeah, a guy could go eighth to sixth, and depending on the track, that could be locked in, or another night that could be back of the B main. Like, and so I don't like that. But if it's
Yeah.
for a special, I don't mind it. Like 141 does it for their special, so it's fine. Um,
So, I mean, I'm in
but
Wissota country, and that's how we do it. And
yeah,
prior to this year, that's how USMTS used to do it as well. Just this year, they've started
yeah,
the time
I
difference, and
like
I much
knowing who's
prefer it.
locked in, like after the heat races, instead of having to
Yeah,
wait 5 minutes and then do the math and all that stuff. It's
100%. So,
yeah, it makes it
so
kind of
that
confusing.
yeah, that's definitely one positive change they had this year. I was bringing up the point stuff because I definitely felt a little bit like um, this event, but I've been feeling a little bit throughout the season that the lack of a continuous series announcer really hurts the vibe. It doesn't have like the USMTS show doesn't have that vibe of like the show came to town because there's not a new voice or like
New
that voice.
announcer, yeah, like
Yeah,
when Lucas Oil late models come to your track, it's like, oh, we get to hear James Essex in person
yeah,
tonight. Or now it's
yeah.
we get the whoever the local guy
Yeah,
is, or
and I
maybe if
don't
they
mean
send
any
someone out.
offense to the local guys, right? Like I don't mean that as a slight to them, but yeah, it like if the show's coming to town, it should feel like the show came to town a
Yeah,
little bit. Yeah. So I noticed that, and I do also notice just like as you like, especially when you're at home, you're like there's no connectivity to the season long thing because like they got their own track to announce. They're not like deep into this. So like the storylines are missing, just all of the things that would build to it. I also sort of in that same point of storylines, you gave me crap about this time last year, but like it's a national schedule, but they run one weekend a month, for the most part, and it is kind of regionalized, and I feel like that's
old news to me. I knew this.
Yeah, I know. I'm giving you credit. And I don't mind the completely regionalized part of it. I get it. Like that is where most of the mods are. But we've talked a little bit about them possibly, you know, venturing into UMP country with some connections to I-55 and stuff. That might be the direction to go because you can at least spread out a little bit and stuff like that. But yeah, I think the schedule is such that it's hard to keep a season rolling when it's just every 6 weeks, you
Yeah,
know?
you kind of forget about it. It's like,
You
who's
do.
leading the points? What's going on? Who won last time?
Exactly. Like I've done my best to keep the storyline going here, but it's like, we'll see you in a month. So like even as much as I want to talk about it, I can only talk so much about it before then it just like it just sits and is stale because it never is updated. So I don't know. That's been more noticeable to me, especially they through no fault of their own, but they lost their season capping event again because that was supposed to be at Heart of Texas.
Oh, I didn't even know that. Okay, I knew
Yeah, they
the big show, Mod Wars. I didn't realize they lost the USMTS show too.
they did, and that was announced at Deer Creek, and so I mean it makes sense, and it's not any of their fault, but this is 2 years in a row now where we've had semi-tight points battles, and the end of the season is just unraveling. We're
So what do they
losing.
have? What do they have left? Like a
I think
weekend
they
in
have two
Kansas or
races left.
something? They have
Yeah,
Lakeside and something else. Like 80, is it
I can
81?
go. I can go look here real quick, but yeah, they have minimal shows left at this juncture, and so it's just as tight as Tanner Mullins is doing. Doing his level best to make it as close and as interesting as he can. Like he's running out of time, and it's just because races are falling off the schedule, much like happened last year. But Lakeside in 81, yeah, they got two
Oh,
races
two
left.
shows left.
Yeah, yeah, in a month. In a month, two shows in a month to end the season. So, like, I didn't even bother to write down points because it's just, you know. And then I'll do two last things. One, for the amount of times I heard for those people watching at home, here's the FK Rod ends instant replay. I feel like I should see one at the track. That is another one of those the show didn't totally come to town things. Like it feels like they should have a big screen or something. Like a lot of other series do. A lot of even smaller series roll with their own trailer, TV trailer. So that was a bummer. I
They
just kept
should
thinking I spent
supply everybody with an iPad connected to Wi-Fi, and it's their whole handheld replay screen.
that's going the wrong direction. We're going I want more community, not less. No, but I know Dirt Vision, and I think Lucas did or does. I could be actually wrong on that, but it's just one of those
High
things
Limit
where
does. I know
yeah,
they
High
do.
Limit does. It adds just a little touch to it. And I understand there's costs associated. I'm not trying to make it seem like it's just this easiest thing, but um it really it if you want it to feel like a big show, it should feel like a big show, I guess. I don't know. I just kept sitting there going, man, I paid a bomb between pit passes and merch and all this, and like if I'm looking the wrong spot, and I want to be in on it. So that was one of those things where it would really be nice. It's not so much a complaint; it's just a helpful suggestion. And then the one thing that had me kind of cackling on Saturday though is that it did a non-qualifiers race. And how do you think that? How do you might know?
I
I might
know
have spoiled
now.
this
I
guy.
know kind of what happened, but you're gonna ask like, how do I think they'd line them up for a
Yeah,
non-qual? Yeah, so
yeah.
normally you'd line them up by like, if you were the first one to miss the show, you'd be on the pole or whatever. But yeah, I heard they redrew them or inverted them or something weird like
Full
that.
field redraw.
How many were in the race?
Oh, I don't remember. It
Was it
was
like
definitely in the
20-ish?
teens. It's
Teen?
20-ish,
Okay,
yeah.
so first
Yeah.
started like 20 something then.
It wasn't so much inverted. It was just like it was a redraw. I mean, just
Oh,
like
okay.
everyone they just redrew whoever
So
was.
everyone just drew for a spot pretty much.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
okay. I guess
yeah.
that's not great, but a tiny bit better. I thought at first
Yeah.
I thought like first place and started
Oh, was
last,
it inverted?
last
No,
started
no,
first.
no,
I was like, I wouldn't even.
no,
If I was supposed to
no.
start on the pole for that, I'd be like, all right, well,
Yeah,
I'm just not coming
no,
out for
not
this.
inverted. Just a full redraw, but it's like this 3-day event, and everything's supposed to be building towards something. And you'd like to think that like if you just missed the show by one, you'd have a shot to win a non-qualifier. I think it paid a little bit of cash and got a cool cooler or whatever. But no, you might start 12th. It's just so for the best. So I don't know. Maybe everyone liked it. When I heard it, I kind of cackled. I did definitely bust it out with a belly laugh. It just seems kind of ridiculous. I don't know.
There is
Whatever.
one thing I want to mention from there. I don't even know if I don't know if they caught it on camera, but the B-mod wreck at the end of I think it was the feature with the fire. Did you see that at all?
Oh, on Friday? I
Yeah,
didn't.
when I was
I
there. Yeah.
haven't.
So I don't know. I saw pictures. I think actually it was shared in the Discord. There's pictures of it. There's a link to pictures. But anyways, yeah, that was one of the worst wrecks I've seen all year in quite a while, honestly. It was so I don't remember the names, but one guy got into the wall like coming out of four, and then he kind of rode up against the wall down the straightaway, like going kind of slow. And like right as he was getting to the finish line, another guy, like I'm assuming he didn't see him, obviously. I don't think he ran into him on purpose, but I don't know if there was like a car in front of him and he like kind of went outside and oh shit, there's a car there now. But
Yep.
yeah, he slammed right into the back of him, and I'm assuming it like hit the fuel cell or something, but it like instantly up in flames. And the guy he hit rolled over too. And then the guy who rolled over, I thought it looked like he was close to getting hit in the roof. I don't think he did, but it was like closer than he wanted to be. But I guess everyone was okay, or they got out. I don't know. Sometimes okay to an announcer is alive, and they could still be hurt, but everyone was alive, so that's good.
That is
Um,
all very good.
but yeah, the fire like was instantly like it was a big fire like right away, and it was very worrying. But he got out, and the other two got out. It was a three-car wreck, and then it took a while to clean up. I don't know, like they just left two of the cars on the track for like 10 minutes, it felt like. I don't know if the car was hot and they didn't want to
Might have
touch it.
been. I mean, it was on
That's kind of
fire.
my guess, but I was
Yeah.
at one point the guy next to me was like, "What are they waiting for? Like these cars have just been sitting here. Are we out of tow trucks or what?" But
Yeah.
I'm guessing it was hot probably. I don't know about the
They're
other.
just letting them cool down.
Yeah, let it cool. They should have just I guess they don't want to spray it with water and I guess I mean one of the cars I don't think you could have done too much more damage to it, but the other one might have been salvageable. But yeah, that was a nasty, nasty wreck. If you were probably where you I think where you were sitting was kind of the area they ended up in. You might have been able to feel the heat from that, like those
Oh, I
stands.
bet.
But
Yeah.
from my area you couldn't. But thankfully it wasn't that cold, so I didn't need the heat by me. But
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's a good thing everyone was okay. I remember talking about it in the Discord, kind of when it happened. A few other people had seen it, and so I had a rough idea what was going on. But by the time, I mean, I was sitting on the couch. It was on the TV. I was probably scrolling on a phone or something, or it
and
might
the
have
race
been.
was like pretty much like the leader already crossed the line. This was like mid-pack or something. Like they were probably on the finish line shot, and all of a sudden that happened. Because yeah, I saw the guy hit the wall, so I was just watching him because the race was over, and then it got a lot worse after that. It
Yeah.
wasn't. It was more than just hitting the wall. So
Yeah. Hmm. Crazy, but good thing everyone was okay. And I guess kind of a decent segue into the what did you watch feature. The one thing we both watched was Road for the Dome, and that was kind of a little cowboy giddy up. So, um, what did you were super excited for this? So I'm curious what were your takeaways? I mean, we'll get to the winners eventually, but just give me your thoughts on the show in general.
features I remember being good. I don't honestly the heats. I was making dinner during the heats, so I didn't really catch those fully. Um,
Kind of little here and there, but yeah.
Yeah, I kind of got sidetracked. Then I was like, oh, the race is starting and I got to make dinner and I was starving, so I picked dinner. Um,
It's
but
smart
I
choice.
remember the features being very good and the track, I know you guys were saying it, but yeah, the track is I think is smaller than the dome. Definitely
It,
narrower. It feels smaller to me though. At least when I was there, but it still raced pretty well. I mean, I wish there was a
I
bit more of a top side, but even then, the features were still good. Like you could make something work up there. Like Fager was doing it for a bit, and then he got a bit too high at one point. I think
mhm.
Shepard made a pass on the top, and then it got called back for a caution.
Yep, I think that is
So there was
correct.
something up there, but I wish there was just a bit more where they were just like the dome where they're like ripping the spoiler off. But
Yeah.
it definitely had the dome vibes, like at least the racing, like gave me like
Yep.
dome vibes.
Yeah.
Only thing you got to do to make it just like the dome is make it more rough. You, how dare you have too smooth of a racetrack?
I didn't mind that it was smoother. I think the dome is bigger and badder and everyone's a little more okay tearing stuff up. I know one of the gentlemen from Florida, he'd won a heat race, and I can't remember his name, and I apologize for that. But they interviewed him. He's like, "No, I'm just happy to get out of here and not tear anything up. Hopefully, we can do the same for the future." Kind of like there's a lot of racing left, so I
Yeah,
get
I
it. Like
remember thinking about
know,
that during the race. Like at the dome, after this, for most of these guys, unless you're a national guy, which in that case you're probably not bringing your primary car anyways. Like you have a whole
right?
off season to fix your stuff. Where for a lot of these guys still there's still a month of racing or so left and they they want to race next weekend. They don't want to tear their stuff up. So I get not going all out for like eighth place or something. It's like, all right, we'll just stay in eighth. We're not winning this thing. Where at the dome a guy would be ripping the whole spoiler off and everything, trying to get up to seventh place. Like, but you have all that time to rebuild. And I mean there's more money on the line too, but it's
Yeah.
I thought about that when it was happening. It's like, yeah, I guess these guys do have still a season left to run, and they don't want to tear their stuff up
Yeah.
before the
What's
season's
the
over
road?
with.
Yeah, I mean, it's the road to the dome. They want to get to the dome. They
Yeah,
want to have a
exactly.
car for the dome, for sure. So I think that played a part in the entries. Just I think how many guys did show up and whatnot. But ultimately, I think a lot of the people who committed and didn't show up are probably kicking themselves. We record on a Monday, but so they're kicking themselves this morning, or they were kicking themselves Monday morning, because I think that it wasn't. it wasn't as much of a wreck fest as maybe the
Some
dome
probably thought,
turns out to
yeah,
be.
definitely
Yep.
not as much as the dome, that's for sure.
Yep. So it wasn't that. And then I think the racing was really good and they managed to keep the surface pretty clean. That's another thing being more of a mid-season show. As much as we love the character of the dome, again, that whole save equipment thing, everyone probably appreciated a bit more of a smoother surface. So I left sort of out of my watching experience very enthused, and I'm like, that show next year is going to be a banger.
And I saw
That's
they
what.
posted they're planning to do it next year. It's not a one and
Yeah.
done thing. So they're yeah.
Oh, they absolutely should. And that's kind of in the same vein of when I first brought this up. I can't remember if that was a show you were on or not, but when I first brought this up, I just had mentioned I really liked the sort of, lay it on the table and go, if you don't think it's going to work, fine, but buy you a ticket because we're trying either way. Like I liked that approach that they took, and they absolutely they delivered on it. And that part is super cool to me, is that they took this huge risk and it was a home run. Like I love that storyline of it too. As race fans, we're spoiled now. We have another sort of this event's going to grow. It may end up being, quasi premier event. It may tag up with the dome, but like we win as race fans, but I also just for me, I like when people take a big risk like
And
that, even
try
publicly.
something
Yeah.
different. Yeah.
Yeah, and like they're just like you can jeer us, but we're gonna do it either way, and whether we fall flat on our face or not, it's gonna be televised.
I
Like I love that.
I saw Chris Ferguson posted, I think it was this morning or last night after the races, but he was saying how much fun he had, and he was like, "So does anyone have a car I can run for the dome now?" So I guess he wasn't planning on going to the dome, but he wanted to go to this. I don't know if he's ever even ran the dome. I don't remember
I
him being
can't
there, but he may
recall.
have been like one of the first few years. But yeah, even after running that, Ferguson wants to go to the dome now. So clearly he enjoyed
Yeah.
small little racetracks. It would be, I think it was you that mentioned this, but they should have like a mini series, like 3 or 4 micro tracks up leading up to the dome. Have one at Millbridge or something, and
Yeah.
then the winners of those, if they don't already have an invite, can get like an invite to the dome. That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah. Yes. So speaking of that, I guess we can talk winners real quick. Spatola won the late model feature, and Damian Kiefer won the mod feature. Opie's been to the dome, I think maybe every time
Already
or a
maybe every
lot of
year, yeah, a
times.
lot of the
Yeah.
times.
So I suspect he was probably going to make it either way, but I hope this leads to an invite for Damian Kiefer. I mean, I haven't seen him on any of the lists they've let out so far, so
No, not yet.
um,
So I think he should
I
get
would,
one. I don't know if
I
he will, but I
agree.
think he should get one.
100%. And it would be really classy for them to just do it this next go round, right? Just like the very next go round, just have him be number one on that list and kind of like put a stamp on this event. Like if you want to come here, this is one way to get in here. Because there are people clamoring to get into the dome. My Facebook feed is filled with people
People
begging.
asking for invites or
Yeah,
not
begging
invites,
people to go vote.
invite and vote. That's what it is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So like there's something to it, and to that whole mini series idea, but like I like that we're creating more momentum to the dome or Gateway Dirt Nationals, which is just an awesome sort of spectacular one of a kind event of dirt racing. But like I don't mind that we're starting the hype a couple months early. You're going. I
It's
wish I could be going.
I like the hype when I'm going. When I'm not going, it just makes me sad. It's like I wish every time something comes up about it, I'm like I wish I was going. But now I'm going. I'm going again this year. So now it's like
Yeah,
yes, keep releasing more info, doing
yeah.
more videos, all this stuff. I want to see it all because I'm hyped for it. So
Heck yeah. I do want to mention too, I thought the racing was really good. It was a tiny like the just to be a fair, viewer, it was a tiny bit of a bummer that both features a caution played a bit of a part in the end result. I feel like um in the mod feature, Kiefer kind of got stuck behind a
yeah,
lapper
and
looping.
then he almost spun, didn't he? Kiefer did, or was
He
that the other?
Yeah,
Yeah,
he almost spun. He saved it, but then I
the
believe
other
it was
guy.
Braden Doyle went around
Yep,
him,
I do
and they
remember that.
kind of kept going, and then they called it for they called the caution for debris, which kind of was a result of that little wreck from
Yeah.
the yeah. So Kiefer ended up keeping his spot, and at that point they were out of traffic. And that race was getting really, really hairy
Yeah,
in traffic.
the traffic makes it makes it really good, which a lot of races.
Yeah,
Traffic makes a race sometimes, and that was definitely the case for that one.
yeah. I mean, we're getting almost to the point now where traffic just makes the race for everything. They're all
Pretty
so
much.
aerodynamically tuned that until we get into dirty air, it's just like hot laps, you know.
Yeah.
Unless the track like really anyway, I'm venting, but it is a bit of an observation. Um, but yeah, so that was this like a small bummer. And then, also I thought Sheppy definitely completed the pass and completed the lap around
They didn't
you had
complete the
referenced
lap,
it.
but
I
they
thought
didn't
for
com
sure he did. I mean, they were coming to the flag
but and
and
a lot of times, so it's more than just like it could
I
be the leader
know
plus whatever. But yeah, so
I'm
I figured
aware.
as soon as the caution came out, I was like, oh yeah, he's not gonna get that. Not gonna get the lead for that. He's gonna get sent back a spot. But which I
Yeah.
think if he did have the lead, he might have pulled away. So it might have made it more of an interesting race. And I didn't really care who won it. So if I was
Yeah.
invested on who won, I would have been. If I was like a Shepherd fan, I would have been pretty annoyed. But I didn't really
I don't know
care.
that I
So
was pulling for him. I definitely thought that we got it in. Especially when we were struggling there mid race a little bit afterwards, and we were clicking off laps for, So anyway, but all in all, it was definitely a good show. It was cool watching Spatola and Shepard and Ferguson just battle for as long
Fager
as
was
they
there for
did.
a tiny bit too.
Or I meant to say Fager. I think I said Ferguson from a callback from previous, but Fager, yeah, he really brought something to it, ripping the lip pretty
Yep.
hard, and it was just those three guys. I believe even in traffic a little bit, it was just solid. It was just super solid racing. I know we said it a couple times, but like I'm recalling now some specific sequences, and it was hairy, it was wild, and they didn't tear anything up. I mean, I think the thing more or less the worst thing I saw in the late model feature was Super Shep tore up some body panels from a flat
Oh, yeah.
tire. Yeah, I mean, it didn't look like anyone got super tore up. You know what I mean? That's
Yeah.
also just a good factor altogether. Um,
I did
the
like.
last thing. Oh,
Oh,
go
go
ahead.
ahead. Oh, who's going?
You go.
Okay, I like to they had their own little driver intros. I mean, it's not the dome
Mhm.
driver intros, but they had something for it, like kind of to be
Yep,
like relate to the dome, have a little, and they had that little tunnel thing they walked
they
through. So that
did.
was,
They
I'm
did.
glad they did something tried to do something for driver intros because that's one of the main parts of the dome. So you want to incorporate
Mhm.
it in an event that's kind of based off the whole thing. So I'm glad they did that as well.
I was curious how you'd feel about that.
For that show, I don't mind it.
Okay, fair enough, fair enough. I will say it would have benefited from music, but I do appreciate that they didn't use the same, copyright free music that the
The
dome
dome.
uses. So
I
like
still think the dome, every driver should get at least pick their song. I still think that
it'd
should
be
be a
so
thing.
hard from a production standpoint to make that work with all the qualifiers and
They
D mains and all
they got
else.
a whole production trailer. Just have every driver send in a
And then you gotta
song
get
beforehand.
licenses for all of it. It's a
They'll they'll figure it out. Flow Racing's got the money. Get it figured out. I expect
so
every
easy to
driver to
spend
have
someone else's money,
to have their
Connor.
own song.
As I was talking about screens not too long ago. But yeah, yeah, for sure. But yeah, I dug it too. I thought music could definitely help the situation, but otherwise I totally appreciated that as well. I was gonna say it really did have kind of all the shades of the dome up to and including there was even I don't know if you caught this because if you were making lunch you might have missed this, but there was an incident during the mods where Dylan Sharp and Chase Holland got into a situation.
I saw part of that. Like I saw Holland or not Holland. Someone is mad at Holland. I didn't know who it
Yeah, so
was, but
it was
yeah,
Dylan it was Dylan Sharp. He got out of his car on the track, went over, and apparently had a very stern conversation
I did
with
see that.
Chase. From the angle, it looked like he may have been throwing punches, but subsequent videos like I
He
did
was
not.
he
I
definitely
just
was doing more than talking. I
yeah, he said he
it,
grabbed him by the face mask and brought him close so he could be heard clearly. So, I mean, I get it. I get it. So, but we even had that little bit of a juice. And the funny thing is they were both in transfer spots, and it was definitely a questionable move, I think, by all parties involved. Sharp, I will mention. So, Dylan Sharp made a fan of me because I saw he posted a video today about the incident afterwards, and he's basically like, I might have chopped him. I don't know. I was being aggressive. He races aggressive. He could have lifted. So yeah, like my bad. Crap happens. kind of thing. And then he gave his side of the story, and that's where I got the whole like I pulled him in close and had something to say. And apparently, Chase wasn't as receptive to feedback as Dylan would have hoped, and so he kind of argued back. But I did really also appreciate though. For Dylan Sharp to just kind of say like after the fact, like, hey, I I didn't come talk to you after because I just felt like after the crappy week we kind of all had in the mods, like tempers were high, but like there's no hard feelings. Keep your chin up. Like it's a racing deal. We're both race hard. We race similar. Like it is what it is. So he kind of made a fan of me. I like the way he handled that sort of as a subsequent thing. But I didn't mind a little drama on the track as well. It was a great event. I'm glad they're doing it again. I don't think we really have anything negative to say. It is more or less just positive some positive feedback a little bit and some places they could spruce it up, but they're gonna crush it. The fact they threw this together in 2 months too, Carter, that says
Yeah, that
something
was
about
that
it.
was very short or quickly done, and it
Yeah,
worked out. I don't think they got the cars they wanted, but aside from that, I think everything went well for them. At least they think so, and I
yeah,
agree. I was surprised, and we talked about it, but I was surprised there's only 15 late models. I thought they would have had 25-ish for sure, but
yeah.
especially more local guys. I don't know. I figured a lot of the local guys might have said screw it, and I could see national guys not
Yeah.
going, but that'll happen.
Well,
And
we
hopefully, as
did
it
mention
grows, more guys want to go.
We did mention, I mean, I don't know if this was any part of the factor, but with the Outlaw show getting canceled and then sort of we'll mention it now, but the Mars show, they had a 3-day show at Tri-City. They ended up getting one of 3 shows in. There was rain and then they canceled Saturday because of like safety and stuff. So like all of the surrounding shows they tried to like schedule near kind of fell apart. Like that whole
Yeah,
thing sort of fell apart. And then the Lucas guys, they were over in Indiana, which wasn't too far, but maybe not totally worth all the effort given that everything kind of canceled. So they had a great idea and they didn't execute. And I love that they still went through with it. They still rocked it out and they're going to be doing it again next year. And I think it's going to look a lot different. So, and they're going to have a whole year to plan. They're going to,
exactly. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. That's an underrated factor of they threw that together super quick and they knocked it out of the park. That's pretty rad. But anyway, other than that, just moving through quickly. So some other stuff we talk about, but we obviously didn't get a chance between all the racing we did and catching that show on Sunday. There's just only so much time in a day. But Lucas did run. They had 2 shows at Brownstown. Hoffman, which I was caught off guard when I saw Hoffman won. I mean, it makes sense he'd go race with those guys, but not always a name I would think to see win in a Lucas show. So I was thrown off
He
by
is,
that.
yeah, he's pretty good there, but yeah, usually you'd
Yeah.
think it's a JD, Thornton, Pierce
Yeah.
was there, but yeah, it was Hoffman, so
Yeah.
that was cool. I do think I said in the Discord, but I think if someone were to even make the show in a Rayburn chassis there, they should get like some bonus because it's like the Rayburn Memorial or whatever.
Yeah. Memorial,
Give
yeah.
them if they win the thing, give them 100K bonus, some crazy.
Yeah. I like your line of thinking. Um, but then on Saturday, a Longhorn chassis won, and RTJ was the winner. But RTJ won. I think that was 50 grand. So,
Yep.
yeah. And then we didn't mention this last week, but the playoffs started. So this was the first 2 weeks of the playoffs. We got 3 races left. So the 2 this weekend. At where are they
Pittsburgh.
again? Pittsburgh. Yep. So they got 2 races this weekend, and then they got the Dirt Track World Championship. Just the final night of that counts as their points race.
Yep.
So they got 3 left. RTJ leads by 80 points, and we were doing the math and we couldn't quite exactly figure it out, but we think that's somewhere around 8 markers. So
Yeah,
uh
it's not a ton of points. They have
yeah,
big gap. It's not like 1 point per position or anything. So
yeah,
yeah, it's
yeah,
not like he's got it locked up like in most series that would be pretty much locked up unless
yeah.
catastrophic things happen.
Yeah. So a little bit of a lead. He's got some leeway to screw up. Oh no, it's not 8 markers. I want to correct that before we did it. So we think it's about 75 difference between first and last,
Yeah,
taking out quick time. So it's about one mechanical issue and one of your competitors winning from being tied. So
yeah,
I'd rather phrase it that way. Yep. So, but anyway, it's a good enough battle, and I don't know. I don't hate it. I think otherwise RTJ would have probably smoked everybody. So maybe we'll get a little drama out of this. But yeah, playoff racing's an interesting topic. So much so we didn't even mention it when it was all locked up. And so the four people, before we move on, the four folks are in our RTJ leads Moran, and then JD is in third, and Hudson O'Neill's in fourth. So we'll go ahead and move past that. Another show that we were at one time super excited for, and then you got relocated, so we lost a little bit of luster. But the Red Clay Classic was this weekend. They had 4 classes, some pretty big paydays. Late models was $15K to win, and Kevin Eater took that down. Mods were $10K to win, and Daryl Nelson won that. And super stocks were $7,000 to win. Steve Stewart was your winner there, and then the Midwest mods was $3,000 to win, and Tyler Vernon took down the dub there. So
I also saw someone added 500 extra bucks to each class, so it was whatever the winner was plus 500. So
heck yeah. Well, right on. So all my numbers were 500 short. They won even more money. Still something I want to get to, but not something I was able to follow as closely as I had hoped this weekend. So I don't have much to add to it. So we'll probably just leave her there, but still one of those events I want to get to for and then just a couple of other events we had brought up last week. So the Mid-America IMCA Stock Car Championship was at Batesville, and that was originally supposed to be a 2-day event for 20,000. Did you catch what happened?
they canceled the first. It was supposed to be 2 days or 3 days. I don't remember. Either way, they canceled the first part, and they only ran Saturday for 7,500. And I saw Jeffrey Abbey won.
Yeah,
I believe, and
right
that's all I remember. I looked on my race pass and I saw they canceled.
yeah.
So
I would just the only thing I would mention is I appreciate that they tried something. I guess when Mother Nature strikes, some people might have just said, screw it, we'll not do it," and they trimmed her down to a 1-day show and still paid 7,500. So I thought that was admirable of them. I did see Dallin Murdy finish third. So
oh yeah, I did see that. I was curious who still went, like Iowa guys, and yeah, I saw he was one of them. So
Yep. So it sounds like some, or definitely some still went. And then another one, you brought this up in your one for the road, but worth mentioning here. So the Survive the 55 was this past weekend at Skagit, and a name we've mentioned on this show before for sure, but Bryson James won that. So he's a somewhat regular at Vado and a late model, and he picked up the IMCA mod win.
and he was uh Friday. He was like, I don't know if they did a feature or if it was points, but he was the top guy Friday. So he's pretty much the top guy all weekend. I want to mention, so we mentioned like you need your car to survive the 55 laps. Well, it was a 52-minute feature, so it might have been a bit of a survival. They should have ran an extra 3 minutes, so 55 lap, 55 minutes. But I remember seeing that Saturday night, and that was kind of funny because we brought it up.
Yeah, I don't think they meant minutes when they named it Survive the 55. But good catch on that. Right on. Well, that was everything we had mentioned, and we're in some ways following along with this past weekend. So that'll take us to our next segment of what we're doing this week. And we're both hitting up a track. We're both hitting up specials. We didn't discuss who's gonna go first, so I'll just go real quick and mention that I'm going to the Fall Classic at Ogilvie. And needless to say, I'm pumped. It's Ogilvie. I'm always excited to go to the home track. I know you'll feel mostly the same way. I'm just going Saturday. And so the Fall Classic, we've got 9 classes, Carter. 9 classes. I'll run through them just for funsies, but late models, mods, street stocks, super stocks, Midwest mods, USRA late models, mod 4s, Pier stocks, and Hornets, and Crown Vic.
Crown Vics, if they ever ran there that you know of?
Nope.
That'll be interesting.
That'll be interesting. I'm probably most excited about that, the Hornet feature, and then the mods and the late models. If I was ranking them, it's going to be good racing, more or less top to bottom. I can tell you I'm not super pumped about the USRA late models, but I'll live with that. We already have with soda late models. 1 late models is good enough. That's what I feel. Anyway, but it should be fun. I didn't mention it before, but the Red Clay had something like 67 mods, and so I don't know that we're gonna get that many but I'm like hoping. It is, and then last thing to mention, it's the WISSOTA standard format for specials, which is 2 days heats on Friday and then B mains and features on Saturday. So you'll catch me there Saturday.
That used to be the standard in my area, and then I think
Yeah.
drivers were like, "You ain't tricking us with this move anymore."
I mean, to be fair, it's pretty beefy payouts. It really is. I
Yeah,
wrote them down. I'm
it's
not gonna go through
I
it all,
know
but it's 5 grand,
sometimes by
four
us,
grand. It's
yeah, by
all.
us it's like when they did it was like heats and then 1,000 to win for the feature. So, but by
Yeah.
us now most of them do either one day like Luxembourg where I'm going this weekend, or like other tracks like 141. It's 2 days but full show each day. But anyways, yeah, so I'm going to Luxembourg this weekend for the Spooky Showdown, the second annual. Who, fun fact, our friend Ryan actually named
Yeah,
that race.
he
Um,
did.
so he will be getting 10% of all ticket sales. No, I'm just
Whoa, news to
kidding.
everybody. Carter.
Um, but they don't have 9 classes. They have 7 though. I think they have vintage as well. Which that's the class I'm not a fan of. Not a huge fan of the vintage cars. Maybe if I was old, it'd be cool to me. So maybe when I'm like 60 and we have vintage stock cars and it's just IMCA stock cars from when I was 15 or something, that'd be cool. But I'm not at that point yet. Um,
Give it time, my friend. Give it time.
but they do a full show, heats, bees, features. Probably will be done before Ogilvy. Probably will have less cars because less classes and stuff. But I'm thinking they should hopefully hit 200. 200's fine with me. If I can I'd like to be home by 10 o'clock. They start at 4, so I think we'll be okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I think this shows somewhere around 220, 225 for Ogilvy. And so we'll be well, they added the Crown Vics. I'm still planning on being done around 1. And if we beat that, I'll be happy. But
Oh,
that's
I thought they had got way more for that show at Ogilvy.
I mean, I don't think so. I think 220-ish is about where they are. It could be a little
Oh,
higher, a little lower, but I think the
well,
last time you and I talked about it was
that's what Luxembourg
somewhere
got. Like
around.
Luxembourg got 225 last year, so we might
I
actually
don't
have.
mean to be underselling them, but I think that was the number I recall. Maybe
Are
I
you
got
looking it
my
up?
maybe I
Uh,
got my specials switched up. No, I'm not.
I'll
Well,
look it
you
up.
look it up real quick. I'll work on getting us through some of the other stuff. So is that
You
the only show
were
you're going to?
Yep, only race going on. By the way, you were 100 cars off, 325
Wait.
last year in
Well, I was in
nine
Luxembourg, but
divisions. But
yeah.
Luxembourg was a different weekend last year.
Yeah.
They were next weekend last year.
I definitely missed the show to be in Luxembourg.
Mm. You may have missed something, but it wasn't this one because Luxembourg was like the 12th or whatever last year.
I definitely didn't go the anyway. My old brain is clearly misremembering something. So, and it's later than normal when we
I-94's
record. So
fall
I'm not gonna.
special, maybe. I don't know.
I don't think so. Anyway, I'll figure it out after the show. You'll tell me tomorrow if I don't. So we'll get to the bottom of it. But anyway, so I apologize for underselling their car count by 100. By the way, that's not my intent at all. Didn't mean to shame them. Um, anyway, some other stuff that I'll be doing my best to follow along with. We've got the World of Outlaws are back in action. They're down in the Kansas area, so they're at Humboldt Speedway for 12,000 on Friday, and then 81 Speedway for 20,000. And when I knew they were going here, but after last week's one for the road where I mentioned the Heartland late models, I was like, interesting. It just this would be one of those shows they could team up with down the road, maybe. I don't know. I'm gonna have that lens for a moment, but these are pretty cool tracks. So if I get a chance to catch some of this racing,
I'll
it'll be pretty
watch
cool.
Humboldt's Friday, right?
Yeah,
I'll watch that one. I'll be home for that one. So
yeah. Although that'll be competing with Falls because we've got the Mars is at is it the Falls Frenzy this weekend? Is
yep.
that what it is?
So
Yeah.
I have multiple TVs.
Multiple
We'll be all right.
screens. You make a point. Yeah.
And I'll be honest, I ain't gonna be watching much of Pittsburgh. I don't really care for that track. So
Yeah, it's one of them long ones. Um, but yeah, so we've got Mars at Falls for the Falls Frenzy, late models and mods. This is their season capping event too,
and
by the
crate
way.
late models.
And crate late models. Oh, joy.
Hey, they're actually pretty good there.
I actually could see that never having a lifter on that little thing, or maybe they actually have to lift for once now, so it makes it
Either
more
way,
fun.
they run the top. That's all that matters.
Then they're not lifted. But anyway, so they've got two shows this weekend. That, like I mentioned, that is going to be the end of their season as well. I did, you know me, in points and storylines. So I took a peek. Late models Fager. I'm pretty sure if I did the math and I understand their scoring right, he pretty much, if he shows up, he wins. And even if he didn't show up and Unziger won both races, he'd still win. So I think he's safe. So Fager should have that locked up. And then in the mods, Cole Falloway, a very favorite of our show, leads Trevor Neville and Michael Ledford. And it's about 100 points, give or take. And based on their scoring, that maybe possibly if things just broke just right, someone else could win, but probably Falloway's got that locked up. And then I guess their closest point battle is a Rookie of the Year point battle, you said?
For the late models, yep.
For the late models. So what's the situation there? Do you know who's
Jake
leading it by chance?
Jake Little's leading. Darren Klein is 4 back, and Jeff Herzog is 17, I think it is.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, so yeah, that's the
Yeah.
closest one. But and I
Yeah.
know they do actually a decent job talking about that. I remember last year, Kyle Hammer won. Maybe it was 2 years ago. Kyle Hammer won it one year. I don't remember which division it was in. He won it in one of the two. He's ran both, but I remember, and they do pictures and stuff for him too. And this is actually a show that since like 2021 I've been to every year, and unfortunately Luxembourg's fall special fell on top of it this year, and I can't go. So I have reserved seats for it, but I can't go. Thankfully, those reserved seats, they're only $8 for the seat, so it's not a
Okay.
that's not a big loss, but
Yeah. Yeah. Well, if weather is a factor, maybe you got reserved seats.
it is a
You,
backup
you
option. If for some reason Luxembourg rains out, I'll definitely go
should,
down there. And I got a seat and everything, so.
right on. Yeah, I don't know how the weather looks like for you, but here it's like basically summer this week,
Yeah, 80 degrees
and
Saturday. It
yeah,
showed earlier today, it showed a 70% chance of rain. I looked
and then
right
that
before
went away.
recording. I looked right before recording, 0% chance of rain. So I don't
Yeah,
know if it's
so
gonna
mine
rain or
look.
not. We'll find out.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like it won't. Mine did the same thing though. I looked last night and then again this morning, and it went from like a heavy chance to like almost no chance. I haven't looked at it recently, but it might be down to no chance. So
It'll
looks like it's
change
just gonna
four
be
more
hot.
times throughout the week.
Yeah.
The one thing that'll stay the same is it's gonna be warm. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they got to keep you looking. So if it's the same every day, you won't keep checking the app. So something's got to change, Otherwise, you got no reason to look. Um, but anyway, another late model series wrapping up their season is the SLMR. So they're going to be at Adams County. It's both east and west, just a 1 day show to sort of end the whole thing. And I did go down a bit of a points rabbit hole, but I'm going to try to make it as quick as possible. But on the east side, it looks like Dylan Thornton's going to win comfortably over Dallin Murdy and Chad Simpson. If my figuring on the back of a napkin is right, it looks like it's a pretty comfy lead. On the west side of things, it looks like Jesse Sobbing is fairly comfortably going to win over Tad Pospisil, but close enough. And I don't know the points good enough to at least mention the guys nearby in case. But I think fairly confidently Dylan Thornton, Jesse Sobbing are going to win each side of that. On the Rookie of the Year deal, Dallin Murdy is definitely going to win on the East. And I thought this was interesting. So Jacob Hobscheit's going to win a second Rookie of the Year in a row. But do you know
Oh,
what
because he
series he
ran
won?
east one. I don't know which one he started in, but is it because he ran east and then west? Is that why? Oh no.
Nope. Nope.
What did
So he's
he?
going to win he's going to USMTS.
Oh, I was thinking late model. Sorry, I was thinking second rookie of the year in a late model. I was to
No,
say that'd
no,
be kind of strange
no.
if you could win it in East and then go to West and win it too.
That might be the play if there's money up top for it. Just run exclusively one series. And so then I do think because they have like East and West and they name champions for this, they do have some of these invite shows and these cross series shows that they do. And I guess they call it like the where I wrote it down, the Elite Eight. So I'm assuming it's like their 8 marquee events and they have points for that too.
Oh,
And
okay.
so combining it all together, it seems like almost the most interesting of all of them. But Thornton leads by 42 over Jesse Sobbing, which would make sense that they're leading each side. But when they all come together and compete, it looks like Thornton is kind of top dog. across both series. So I thought that was kind of cool. This last race is the eighth one, so that could change, but I think his lead's safe enough.
Oh yeah.
That'll probably pull that down. But anyway, I thought that was interesting. They do some cool stuff over there with the East and West. Getting down the road, I like that they at least have this like Elite Eight thing where there's
Where they
some like
come together at points.
yeah, because there's definitely guys that aren't running the entirety of both sides, so it's nice to match them up, prepare them up. But anyway, they did race last weekend. The West did, by the way, just randomly worth throwing in. And this was another one of those, hey, that's Heartland late model territory. But they were at Lakeside and US 36.
I didn't know. I know they've been to Lakeside before. I didn't. I don't know if everyone there. They may have. Yeah, I didn't. I didn't realize they raced until you mentioned it. So.
Yeah,
But
but so they were Lakeside Tad Pospisil won, and then at US 36 Corey Zeitner win. I mean, if we're gonna mention they were there, I should at least mention
say who won.
Seems fair. But anyway, and then the last thing that I'll at least be keeping a little bit of an eye on is the USRA Nationals are this weekend at Lucas Oil Speedway. I think they race Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Some classes all day, some classes just a couple of days. And then
Josh is going to give a full breakdown of the format now.
it made my head hurt. I mean, I don't think it's as confusing as it read the first time, but ultimately, if you want, I think I get it though. I have like quick
no,
notes.
we're fine. We don't
Anyway,
need that.
yeah, there's qualifying nights into, either you lock in or you have B features on Saturday and they run the big thing. As far as money is concerned, 5K for mods, so it's a decent paying show. And then I think you had mentioned this at some point along the line, but they get like extra bonus show up points for being at this show. So
like the points, national points, you mean?
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
because I think the national point leaders have to go to the show.
Okay.
If I remember, at least they may have changed it, but I think that was how it used to be at one point, where they had to show up to claim their title, I guess. Which could you imagine missing one show and you just lose all your whole year? I think that's how it was from when I remember hearing. I think that's how it was. So
I will say though, if it's a known factor before you run for points is
then
you knew that going
you kind of knew,
yeah. But anyway, so that's something to keep an eye on. They got 4 or 5 of their top classes running there, so good show. It's on Racing Dirt, so if everything gets rained out or weather's weird and people are looking for something to watch and you got Racing Dirt, it's there, so it'll be easy to catch. But anyway, I think with that'll be everything. So Carter, that means it's time for
the one for the road, and mine kind of ties into 2 things we talked about during this episode. So it ties into the Dome because it's happening at the Dome, but it also kind of ties into Arlington and all their like different stuff for redraws. And I saw the Dome announce that for the prelim feature redraw, I don't think it's for the main feature, but the prelim features, they're gonna do like a pit stop challenge, and like the fastest pit stop would start first, second fastest second, and they're doing the top 6 in each one, I guess, is redrawing. So it's like a different kind of redraw versus just either start them straight up or no or just draw out of a hat. But yeah, I just thought I like it, and I'm assuming they're gonna do it in front of the crowd. That kind of sucked if they did it in the back, just watched it on the big screen.
Although I wouldn't hate it if it was like the guy running down the hall with the camera. That's always its own unique view. Trying to get I suppose everything's drones now or past the guy running down the hall. But yeah, no, I was thinking that's super cool. It also is one of something the Dome can capitalize on because they do have these intermittent downtimes to work the track and ventilate the place and all of
so
that.
It actually,
so
they got time to fit it in and do it. Yeah, I think it'll be cool because I mean I know they sometimes do like not live pit stops in a race, but they do like these pit stop challenges at other races and stuff. But yeah, not often do you get to really see them like full go try to change stuff. And so yeah, I think it'll be cool.
Yeah. The smart ass in me goes, well, at least that means they'll have a reason to change it quickly because they don't get to do that during any of the racing there. So
yeah, that's true. There's not even a hot pit or anything, right?
No, there's not. Yeah. It's tiny bit ironic that they're doing that, and they don't even get to do it for the races. Hey, it'll be entertainment either way. But it just occurred to me as you were talking about it. Now I'm like, wait, they don't even get to hot pit.
They don't even. Yeah, It might be like a whole month since they even had a scenario. They might have to practice before the week before or something. Remember how to do this.
If you go walk the pits on prelim night, like the car's already and they're just
Yeah,
practicing.
I hope they
Anyway,
do it where I think they do this at is it the Show Me 100 where the car actually like comes in and then they go kind of like NASCAR style. It's not like the car's stationary and then it's
just
like
stationary.
and go. It's like the guy kind of makes a lap or whatever and then pulls in and then it's like all right, now you got to change it. That's just pulling in. And so it's a little bit of the driver has to kind of do some too. They should have it too
Yeah,
where there's like a pit box where you if you go past it like you have to
get
roll
out
it
of there.
back.
You get a
That'd be
time penalty or
kind of do it
something.
like
Yeah.
NASCAR. That'd be one of the few things NASCAR does that makes the race interesting. So might as well toss it into this. Have them have a designated pit box and stuff.
I like it. I like it. Have them like kind of come out and like do a half lap and then have to go in the infield area and like stop in a box and
Yeah,
then
stop
yeah.
in the right spot. So the driver has to do something too.
Yep. I dig it. I dig it. If they're taking notes,
Yeah, there you
Carter's
go.
onto something here. Right on. Um, no, I do enjoy that. That actually kind of goes hand in hand with my one for the road, and I'm a little bit bummed because I meant to go double check the event name, but HTF had a show at Southern Raceway, and it had Rumble in the name. I know that much, and it didn't occur to me when I saw the event name, but it was good because turns out in addition to racing, their scheduled racing on Friday, which did unfortunately get rained out, but they had also intended to have racing and wrestling. And I like that crossover. I feel like that's I've made reference to WWE to wrestling and WWE. We have freaking Ric Flair does our intro.
That's yeah.
So
And I
like
mean the dome is like got wrestling vibe and we
it's
obviously like that event.
so yeah, so much sports entertainment vibes to that. So, um, I when I caught wind of that, I do actually like too. So, like I mentioned, it got rained out. They still did the racing too. Or
Oh
no,
yeah.
I'm sorry, they didn't do the racing. They still did the wrestling.
Yeah. If you
Yeah.
want the name is Rumble at the Races, by the way.
I love it. Perfect. It's a perfect descriptor of what's going on. I like it. No, so obviously I just like the idea of wrestling. I also just like the out of the box thinking slash creativity slash trying to find crossover ways to bring fans who have similar-ish interests into things. Like I don't know. As I mentioned before, I obviously have some wrestling knowledge to me. I've been to indie shows and WWE shows and all the like. So like I would totally get a kick out of that. And it gives something more to do at the racetrack. So maybe you do it before or
But
after.
it kind of worked out too, because with the rain
Yeah.
out, it still kept a reason for fans to stay.
Exactly, right? And I've seen that too with like some specials and stuff where they'll have bands and stuff and it'll rain out and they're like, well, the band's still gonna play. Like
Yep.
it's a good way to provide entertainment because ultimately racing is some form of entertainment. There are some like I would say you lean more towards like the sport, like serious racing side of it. I probably lean a little more towards like the glitz and glam. Glitz and glamour seems like such a silly way to phrase that, but like the community and like the show vibes and like the fan engagement and stuff. Like I lean a little bit more that way. So like there are there are different versions of us out there, but like I don't know. We all kind of like the same thing, and we all probably have similar likes. Like, I don't think you'd be upset if monster trucks showed up at the races, or if a
I've
good
seen it. I've
band.
actually seen monster trucks at Luxembourg when I was a kid. They like during the race they had a monster truck. I don't
Yeah,
remember which one, but I do remember that happening.
yeah.
And speaking of
Yeah.
things, 141 actually had a mechanical bull at for the fall special because
Did
after
they?
everyone stays and parties, so they had a
I
mechanical
love
bull,
it.
and it was such a hit they brought it back for Saturday night too.
Awesome,
So it's things like that, yeah,
awesome.
they work, and it's after
Yeah.
the races, so it doesn't slow the show down. Perfect.
Exactly. That's actually so funny enough. Like I've been thinking how we poke fun at each other that like my shows out this way run a little late and yours have to be done before supper, kind of thing. So like there's definitely a push and pull there, but I do think that finding a way to have like an entertaining but like somewhat snappy show and then having a reason for those who want to stay and party to stay and party is something we're going to see more and more of. Like, I'm noticing it a little bit more this year as compared to years past. It's happening a little bit more frequently, but I think that's one good way to sort of build like to meet in the middle of those two race fans too, right? Like have a show that has a little bit of the silly things like the redraws and all of that, but then it's still done at a reasonable time, and then there's like an after party for everyone who wants to hang and have an after party. And if you do it just right, you probably have a pre-party too, like the like pit party, with
Yeah.
the pit pads like the MTS thing did. And now you've got a reason for some folks to show up early and
And
create community. Then you've got racing and then reason.
Luxembourg is a good example for this weekend. You were there. They had do
Yeah,
the
the
trick or
track or treat.
treating, and that
Yeah.
was, I mean, that was a huge success from last year. They didn't even think that many people were gonna, like, drivers were gonna do it, and like half the pit area was freaking parked
Yeah.
out there with candy and stuff.
I remember your mom was just like floored. She just couldn't believe there was that many people there, because she had a hand in kind of making that happen. And like, I remember her just being like, I cannot believe there's this many people. And we went and looked. I think I took a picture and all that, but like there was at least 30 some odd cars in that little area. It wasn't
Yeah,
like a huge
there's a small
area.
area. Yeah, they've
Yeah, and all the crews, all their families, and then all the kids, and the kids weren't even in costumes. Like it was, I mean, that's part of the reason I like the topless nats too, right? Like the trick or treating and stuff the day before too. But there's we can do this more than just like fall special. I promise you. So
I
I don't
know
know.
I know some tracks do like Christmas in July, and they do, I think Shawano does a Halloween thing in the summer
Yeah,
because they don't run in the fall at all. So they do
yeah,
like a trick or treating thing in the summer. But yeah, some tracks by me try to do something.
yeah,
Some just kind of race, and that works for them too. For me,
yeah.
I'm fine with the racing, but I also get you want to get more people involved, and it's
Yeah, we
not,
got to find a way to get more people to come.
you can't just try to please the hardcore fans, because there's a lot less of those than there are
Yeah,
casual fans.
yeah, yeah. That is for sure. There definitely is, and so it's an interesting push and pull because like everything lives in a silo now. Like we all have our personalized feeds. So if you're like a dirt racing fan, like you see it. So there's just so many of us. We need to get more of them, but we have this weird thing of like complaining a lot about, about what tracks do, and this took too long, and that sucks, and this that. It's just like, you don't make it very doesn't. There is a small subset of people who don't make it look very cool to go hang out at a racetrack. All they do is bitch, And so I don't know. I just like to highlight the stuff where it's fun and entertaining, and um, hopefully you don't have a car breakdown in a victory lane every now and
Yeah,
again. But if you do, maybe there's some grace for it too, right? Because like they're trying
at
to
least
bridge
it
the
was the
gap.
last feature,
Yeah.
so it didn't matter. It
Well, that's
only
kind of a lucky break,
only
pun
thing that
intended, but
sucked on my end is I probably would have been gone already, but they had mechanic races where like pit crew members could race, and I had to
okay.
stay for that. If I was there just as a fan, I'd probably have been, all right, we're out of here. Especially if I had a 5 hour drive back home.
Wait, I have a question. Have you seen a mechanics race before?
Yeah, they do them by me all
Okay.
the time.
Okay. Never mind. I was gonna ask if that counted as another new class, but whether it did or
No,
didn't, you've already
it's
seen.
pretty much just pit crew members drive
Yeah.
the
Mhm.
car.
The
So
car.
they do it in like all the hobby stocks, not all, but whoever wants to participate comes out. And by
Yeah.
me, there's not a ton of people that do it. They actually had a good amount do it. There was like 8 sprint cars out there of people doing it, and nothing really bad happened. There was no big
Yeah.
crash or anything.
Right.
Um,
Was it good racing?
no, no, it was not. There's usually one person that I'm convinced drove a race car at some point because they're always just
Yeah.
flying around there, gone, and then everyone else is putting around the bottom.
Right on. Right on. Well, I think that's a good place to end it though. Is right there. Mechanics races, Carter says are terrible, and Josh says he'd like to see one before passing judgments.
Powder
So
puff races. I've seen some good powder puff races, though. I don't know if you know what
okay,
that is. It's just like
I do.
girls drive,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I've seen a
The
couple
female
good ones.
companions
Yeah,
usually are really, yeah,
those
yeah.
can get kind of wild sometimes.
Oh yeah. Well, you see them gals in the stands, man. They ready to throw down for their guy. So it doesn't surprise me at all. They might get a little heated behind the wheel. Anyway, we'll end it there before we put our foot in the mouth anymore. If you're still here, you better hit a like. And otherwise, thanks for hanging out with us, and we can't wait to do it again next week.
See ya.